This is the Budget and Finance Committee. I'm going to go through all the items on consent first. I'm going to read the numbers off, and then we'll, oh, you want to take roll call? All right. Okay, I've been told I have to take roll call to establish quorum, so. Councilman Roten's here. Councilman Allen, Benedict, Druffel, Evans, she's here. Campbell, Hurt, Johnston, Mendez, Pulley is here. Sledge, he's here. Swara, she's here. Syracuse is out of town having fun. Toombs is here taking pictures. Van Reese is here. And Vercher is out of town as well. All right, we have a quorum. I'm going to read through the items that are on consent, and then if anybody needs to pull anything, please just raise your hand and let me know, and I'll pull it for you. I'm going to go ahead and just read the numbers off, and then if you hear something that you want me to pull, just raise your hand, and then I'll read through all the captions on it. So we got RS 22, 1733, 1735, 1738, 1739, 1740, 1741, 1742, 1743, 1744, 1745, 1746, 1747, 1748, 1749, 1750, 1751, 1752, 1753, 1754, 1755, and 1756. Is there anything that I just read off of those numbers that you need me to pull from consent? Councilmember Mendez.
1744.
Thank you. All right, I'm about to start reading. I'm going to sit back and enjoy yourselves. 1733, Roten, Gamble, Welsh, and Swara authorizes grants not exceeding $74,596 from the Barnes Fund for Affordable Housing to Affordable Housing Resources for the express purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable or workforce housing. 1734, Porterfield, Sepulveda, Benedict, and others appropriates $500,000 from the unencumbered balance of appropriations to the Metropolitan Council Office, Mayor's Office. I'm sorry, that was not on consent. I apologize. 1735 authorizes the Metropolitan Department of Law to settle the personal injury claim of Darylene Coolidge against the Metropolitan government in the amount of $22,000, and that said amount will be paid out of the self-insured liability fund. 1737 authorizes the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency to enter into a pilot agreement and accepts payment in lieu of, that's another one, sorry y'all. 1738 approves a grant from the U.S. Department of Treasury to the Metro Action Commission to be used for emergency rental assistance in accordance with the purposes set forth in Section 501 of the Consolidated Appropriations Act. 1739 approves Amendment 3 to appropriate grant funds from the Kretzage Foundation to the Metro Action Commission for making a Change for Jobs project to expand opportunities in America's cities through grant making and social investing. 1740, Roten, Gamble, Hurt, and others approves a project diabetes grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metro Nashville Farmers Market to create fruit and vegetable incentives programs that ensure healthy options are an easy choice. 1741, Roten, Gamble, Syracuse, and others approves an epidemiology and laboratory capacity for infectious diseases grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health to support all construction requirements associated with the cooler expansion project for the Office of Medical Examiner. 1742, Roten, Gamble, Syracuse, and others approves an American Rescue Plan funded grant from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to the Metro Board of Health to advance enhancing monitoring of particulate matter or other pollutants by improving Nashville's air monitoring network. 1743, Roten, Gamble, Syracuse, and others approves Amendment 5 to a grant from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency to the Metro Board of Health for the ongoing collection of data on ambient air concentrations for fine particulate matter in Nashville, Tennessee. 1745, approves the grant contract between the Metro Board of Health and the Mental Health Cooperative to provide funds to operate a 24/7 mental health co-op treatment center to provide urgent mental health care alternatives to the emergency room or jail. 1746, Roten Gamble, Syracuse, and others approves a contract for services between the Metro Board of Health and Neighborhood Health Incorporated to provide homeless individuals with medical and dental services at 2 or more clinics in or near downtown Nashville. 1747, Roten Suwara approves a grant application to provide meals that meet RDA nutritional guidelines to eligible seniors in their home and in congregate meal sites throughout Davidson County from the Greater Nashville Regional Council to the Metro Social Services Commission. 1748, Roten, Hurt, Welsh, and Swara approves a grant from the Tennessee State Library and Archives to the Metro Nashville Public Library to provide funds for free technology training and equipment for use by members of the community. 1749, Roten, Withers, Pulley, and Hancock approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Metro Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure for general maintenance for State Route 45 at Myatt Drive. 1750, approves, Evans, Roten, Gamble, and others, approves Amendment 1 to an agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure for miscellaneous safety improvements on State Route 45 intersection at State Route 265. Anybody at the administration table, would y'all do me a big favor? And this is important to me. Everything from Lebanon Road to Old Hickory Boulevard is under Metro, and everything from Old Hickory Boulevard to the county line is a state road. Could someone from the administration find out to me why we switched everything from Lebanon Road to Old Hickory Boulevard under Metro authority? I know it's been on the capital spending plan since 1974. I'm just curious why we took that over and haven't done anything with it. That's my first. It may be my last, but it's my first. 1751, Syracuse, Roten, Withers, and others approves a license agreement between the Department of Parks and Recreation and the Tennessee Commissioner of Transportation to construct and maintain a multi-use pedestrian greenway in Davidson County, Tennessee. 1752, Sledge, Roten, Gamble, and others approves a grant from the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corp to the Metro Nashville Parks and Recreation Department in support of a museum feasibility study as part of the Fort Negley Master Plan. 1753, Roten, Syracuse, and Porterfield approves an application for the Edwin Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant from the U.S. Department of Justice to the Metro Nashville Police Department for specialized training and equipment to ensure personnel maintains needed certification for criminal investigation and crime reduction initiatives. 1754, Roten and Gamble authorizes the Metro Department of Law to settle in the property damage claim of Richard Kennedy against the Metropolitan government for $19,988.84 to be paid out of the self-insured liability fund. 1755, Roten authorizes the Metro Department of Law to settle the property damage claim of Cody Hyman against the Metropolitan government in the amount of $18,212.15 to be paid out of the self-insured liability fund. 1756, Roten and Gamble authorizes the Metro Department of Law to settle the personal injury claim of Linda Thompson against the Metropolitan government for $52,000 to be paid out of the self-insured liability fund. And that takes care of it. Can I get a motion? Second. I got a second. All in favor of the consent? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you need something pulled? My apologies. Let me find you here. Sorry, Councilmember Allen.
That's quite all right. Could I move 1733, 45, and 48 off? And 44, I'm hearing from. So 33, 44, 45, and 48. And 46.
Which ones did I apologize?
33, 44, 45, 46, 48.
44, we moved 44, all right, 45 and 46. Okie doke.
Thank you very much.
And 48. All right, back to item number 1. in Berkeley. Alan, you're already lit up, so it's 1694, authorizes the issuance and sale of Metro Water and Sewer revenue bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $315 million. Councilmember Allen, you're recognized.
Do you want to move the consent agenda and have us vote on that?
Did we not just do?
No, I just pulled things off of
I'm
it.
sorry,
While you
my
were trying to do that, I apologize.
That's all right. We had a motion in a second. All in favor? Any opposed? You move the consent agenda. All right, so I've just read off number one on those not on consent. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you. I believe that the one year is 1694, which is, along with 1695, is water bonds that are a special loan from EPA called WIFIA. And I would like to defer to Ms. Michelle Bosch and anyone else from the administration that would like to explain what those are and why it's a great deal for us and we should support it.
You're recognized, administration.
Hi, thank you. As you know, our office is working with the Water Department to fund process advancements at the Alejandro and K.R. Harrington plants. Part of this funding will come from a federal loan program through the Environmental Protection Agency, and the program's called the Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act, which allows us to borrow at great rates compared to the revenue bonds. So we would be potentially getting interest rates at a AAA level compared to what we currently have as our credit rating for the water department, which is AA rated. So there's added benefits to this program in addition to the better ratings, which in turn will be lower costs of debt. We have more flexibility with the structure of this loan as per a revenue bond. There are lower costs of issuance, and there are no capitalized interests on this type of loan program. This is a straight federal loan program that our office will be engaging with on the EPA, so we will not be going to the public markets. Another benefit of the program.
Any further questions?
If no one else has questions, then I'd move approval.
Need a second? Councilmember Jeffrey, were you seconding or were you wanting to? Okay, I have motion and a proper second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We were just describing the first and the second, so I'm going to go ahead and read the second off. We just voted on the first. We'll do it quick for the second. 1695, supplements and amends substitute resolution number RS 2010-1442 to authorize the execution of a loan agreement between the Metropolitan Government and the United States Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, pursuant to which a loan will be provided in the principal amount not to exceed $315 million provided for financing of certain water and sewer system projects of the Metropolitan Government, and to authorize the execution and issuance, sale, and payment of one or more water and sewer revenue bonds in connection of said loan agreement, and repealing those provisions of resolution number RS 2011-114, authorizing the issuance of subordinate lien water and sewer revenue bonds.
Here can be heard.
Can y'all not hear me out there? Got to get close up to the mic. Thanks, y'all. Still not great. I'm told it's turned up all the way, so I'm as close to the mic and speaking loudly, so I apologize if you can't hear. What'd you say? Stay close, yeah. Normally you can hear yourself back, and I can't hear anything, so I was wondering if it was, yeah. So our apologies out there. I guess I'll have to scream into the mic. So, Councilmember Allen, could I get a motion on the second, if you don't mind? Properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You pass. 13 in favor, 0 against. That's what I have, 13. RS 2022-1734 appropriates $500,000 from the unencumbered balance of appropriations to the Metropolitan Council Office, Mayor's Office, and Nashville Department of Transportation and Multimodal Infrastructure for the purpose of funding a grant to Planned Parenthood of Tennessee and North Mississippi. We got a motion, second. Councilmember Sepulveda and Porterfield and Councilmember O'Connell, are you on this as well? And would you like to speak on this? Councilmember O'Connell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Councilmember Porterfield could not be at committee today and had asked me to speak on this. There's a couple notes I wanted to make here. We have a great framework for a memorandum of understanding that's being prepared by Metro Legal here, and this has gone through both the administration and Metro Finance for review. And so a couple things. One, there is a quirk of the Metro Charter that requires that if you're not using undesignated fund balance, basically if you're moving money between accounts mid-year with no additional revenue sources, that it can be done by request of the mayor and approved by council at the quarter boundary. So we're going to have to effectively defer this to the first meeting in October to meet that timing deadline. The other thing I wanted to mention is the sources here don't exactly align with what the sponsors had kind of requested. So we took NDOT and the administration's request for the traffic signal piece. There may be some additional discussion about that. That may not be finalized. We'll see what happens in some additional review before the October meeting, but I did want to recommend that the committee defer this for 2 meetings on the basis of the charter, and if there are questions, I'm sure Ms. Darby can speak to those.
Thank you, Council Member. Can I get a motion for we got a motion to defer 2 meetings, properly second. All in favor? Any opposed? You defer. Oh, sorry. I don't really want to, but do I really? I've just been made aware on number 3 was pulled from consent. It's 1733. Authorizes grants not exceeding $74,596 from the Barnes Fund for affordable housing to affordable housing resources for the express purpose of constructing and rehabilitating affordable or workforce housing. Council member, can I get a motion in a second for discussion purposes? So moved, seconded, properly seconded. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you. This was deferred in affordable housing meeting, so I didn't know if that meant that we shouldn't keep it on consent, but we should at least be aware that it's going to be deferred.
Okay. Okay, we can move forward. We had it on consent calendar. If you'd like to defer, you can make the motion, or if you'd like to go ahead and move it through, that's up to you.
Okay, now I'd move approval. I think
okay.
We had a good explanation from the planning department, but it was deferred in.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You pass. Item number 6 on the agenda, it's RS 2022-1737, Evans and Roten. Get a motion. Moved and properly seconded. Councilmember Evans, you're recognized. If I can find you, hold on. There you go.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a project in my district, Margaret Robertson Apartments, that is going through MDHA and a private developer called SDG, and it is being sold to MDHA. SDG is the developer. The developer is interested in revitalizing the property. It was constructed when Kevin, I think, was about, or I should say Councilman Roten was like 25, 30 years old.
2 years old.
Okay. And so the property is going to be upgraded for the residents to include, upgraded amenities. They'll actually have a kind of business center, a fitness center. It'll be more of a actual contemporary apartment complex compared to how old it is. And we do have a representative from MDHA his name is Matt Loftus. And so he can take questions about the overarching process, because myself, several other new folks on budget and finance, to talk about LIHTC. There is a sense of urgency, which is part of this discussion, because the developer has said that THDA's LIHTC award expires very soon before the next council meeting, and if we don't pass it this evening, we're in jeopardy of the property losing affordability. As part of this transaction. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Could we have someone at the back from MDHA to explain what we're doing here?
Hello, good afternoon. So yeah, this is a proposed pilot for Margaret Robertson Apartments. As Councilmember Evans said, it's an existing 100-unit apartment complex. It currently has project-based vouchers on it, so it is rent restricted currently. They have applied for and have received an allocation of 4% tax credits from THDA.
Mr. Loftus, could you hold on just one second? We're having trouble hearing you up here, like y'all were having trouble hearing us back there, and we're having they're checking to make sure we're all turned up everywhere. So. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
Mic check. All right, here we go.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, this is it's an existing 100-unit apartment complex. I believe it consists of 25 different 4-unit buildings, and it has an existing PBV contract on it. So there's essentially Section 8 housing now. The developer, SDG Housing, has applied for and has received an allocation of 4% low-income housing tax credits from THDA. They received this allocation of tax credits. The award was given on May 10th of this year. THDA has a 90-day clock to close on the tax credits once they've received the award. They have already received a 30-day extension, and that 30-day extension would fall to tomorrow. And they did. We spoke with them this afternoon, and they did indicate to Councilmember Evans and I that they have received an additional informal verbal extension from THA, and they think it will probably land somewhere around September 20th as on the closing schedule. So that sort of provides a little context on the timeline. I can get into a little bit more specifics about the project if you'd like, or just the pilot program in general if there are any other more specific questions.
Councilmember Mendez.
Thanks. So THDA made the award in May?
That is correct, yes.
In the theme of council always gets hurried, why is this coming to us in September if the THDA award was made in May?
It's a great question. So MDHA received the pilot application 10 days after the award was granted by THDA. It takes 2 months. We try to reserve a month to review the actual application, and then it has to go to our board twice. Generally speaking, we like to receive the pilot applications in conjunction with a developer applying for the tax credits so that we have time to review them before the award is given. This was sort of, this developer's first time going through the pilot process in Nashville, and perhaps they were unaware of timing. There was also a little bit of confusion once we received the pilot application. The developer was seeking seeking a property tax appeal, because the base taxes on this are actually very high, and we can only abate the property taxes down to the base taxes, and so the property tax bill right now is $142,000, $586. They tried to get that down. They were unsuccessful, and they decided to pursue the pilot anyway. And I do understand the concerns with.
Let me just, for the sake of, on behalf of the council.
Yeah.
So May 10 award, you guys get the application within a couple weeks. You like to have a month to ponder it over and kick the tires over at MDHA, and there were board meetings in June, July, and August, and we get it now we get from last Wednesday through the holiday weekend till today to think about it, and that is standard operating procedure in Metro, I guess, to figure, it's like what was this year commercial, Mikey will eat anything. That's us here. We're just going to cram it through because everybody else got to take their time on it. And so, there's an informal agreement to push it, to give them another couple weeks so we could defer it if we wanted to.
So my understanding is that it could be, you obviously are an independent body. You're able to defer it if you so choose. The September 20th is sort of the informal deadline he gave, which I believe is the same date as the next council meeting. So it would not be able to close because the lender would need to see evidence of the pilot before closing on it. And just in fairness, MDHA board did not receive this in full until the August meeting. So we, and this was the earliest that we could get in front of this body. I received similar feedback from our board and from everyone else that, we wish that we had more time for these things. And the closing clock is just really tight for the THDA because of the nature of these awards and how competitive they are. There's always others that are, in line behind.
Seems like somebody should reassess the timeline so we have more than 5 days through a holiday weekend to think it over.
I greatly agree with you on that.
Councilmember Mendez, I don't mean to rush you along. I'm being told that it was deferred one meeting in affordable housing. Is that not right? Okay, if it's, so I'm supposing that we can go ahead and defer it for one meeting here if we, Councilmember Evans.
Thank you. So we deferred it prior to knowing the information that we got in between. Otherwise, we probably would have had a comparable conversation in affordable housing.
Okay. So just to go along with affordable housing, I get a motion to defer one meeting?
Well, if not on this one, on the next one, since we've got new committee members, I think this program does need a more fulsome explanation about what the program is. I'll let somebody else make the motion. I mean, I don't want to be the one responsible for blowing the closing on it just because nobody else could be bothered to get it to us before now.
I'm at the will of the committee, so y'all, if someone want to raise their hand, let me know what's going on. Councilmember Allen.
I move for approval. These pilot programs have been very important to the low-income housing tax credit, which is one of the best ways we can create affordable housing. And Councilmember Mendez is certainly one of the most knowledgeable people on this committee, and he may know enough to go through and evaluate whether this particular project is good or not. But I have relied on MDHA and their calculation of what this pilot needs to be, and based on the data on all the pilots that they've approved, which we've then approved, we have created more affordable housing through this program than anything else except maybe Barnes. And so I would repeat the request that we get the information in a timely fashion, but as a council member who spends a whole lot of time clawing for every single unit, if this is going to preserve 100 units below 60% AMI, maybe we can send a letter to the committee and slap their hands for not being timely. But I would ask that we pass this so that we ensure that we save these units.
All right, we have a motion properly seconded. Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Chair. I believe since it got deferred in affordable housing, it's going to end up getting deferred on the floor anyway. But I do support the motion for approval. I did just want to give a little bit of context. My understanding is this year, and the THDA deadlines are pretty ridiculous as far as how short they are. My understanding, just for context for members here, is I think Nashville or Davidson County of LIHTC deals with these sorts of pilots that get attached to them from us. There are only 4 that got approved for this upcoming year. In context, Knoxville has 9, and there has been repeated sort of messaging from THDA that Nashville is not going to get the same priority that it used to on LIHTC deals like this, and you're seeing that from the awards. So I just want to give folks an idea of that when it comes to creating these things, the opportunities are actually, you wouldn't believe it, but they're lessening. And so I think we do have to pretty strongly consider getting things done when we have to. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Johnson.
The timeline is bothersome. I hope we can work that out with some type of process between MDHA and us so that we can have more time. But since it was deferred in affordable housing, can we suspend the rules in order to get it passed? Because I do feel like this is important and I want to take advantage of it and not put in jeopardy the entire project.
Yeah, that would be on the floor tonight.
Okay.
Councilmember Van Rees, did you have something to say? I know you raised your hand. Okay. We have a motion properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, 14-0. Item number 13 on the calendar, 2022-1744, approves a grant contract between the Metro Board of Health and the Mental Health Cooperative to provide expertise and staff in emergency behavioral health care to support the launch and pilot year of the Nashville Police Department's co-response model, Nashville Partners in Care. Sponsors are Roten, Gamble, Syracuse, and others, and this was pulled from consent. I got a motion set properly seconded. Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering, I had a couple of constituents email and ask about the salaries that it's going to take in order to run the program, what's going to happen in future years, and also some of the services that would be needed could very well be provided by Metro General Hospital. Is that an option? Have we considered utilizing them? I was asking that question for 44, 45, and 46.
Okay. So someone from the administration want to take this one, or they're not looking very eager over there? Hold on one second. There you go, Mike.
Thank you. Councilmember Hurt, this is a grant contract.
Put that close to your mouth, Mike. It's the same way.
This is a grant contract with MHC because MHC is technically a not technically, it is a nonprofit, but this will be funded through operating budgets from the Metro Health Department going forward. As the recipient, MHC has the right to use their own discretion with respect to, number one, they've got to hire clinicians for purposes of staffing the co-response model. They could do that from Nashville General, from other facilities, from other providers. They have that option, and we can certainly encourage them to consider the Nashville General personnel. I hope that answers your question, but at the end of the day, MHC will have the discretion to make that call.
So where does the operating money comes for MAC?
So this will be, we have about $300,000 left for a behavioral health grant that Metro Health Department has not expended that is available for this. The remaining $1.1 million will be a Department of Health operating requirement. And so it will be in next year's budget, probably at an increased amount because the number of precincts in which this is deployed will increase in FY24 all the way through FY27. I think the cap is at about 2.7 by FY27.
So let me rephrase and ask a question. is it not all monies that come from Metro?
It is Metro's allocation, yes, ma'am.
So then that means that our taxpayers are basically providing funds for it. And I'm just asking the question, if it's something that we've considered in this, and is it any way, as we comb through it all, any possibility of saving? And it may not be a lot, but my mama said a penny saved is a penny earned.
No, you're right. And again, we are essentially extending this grant contract with the nonprofit, and in those typical instances, we encourage them to act as efficiently and as expediently as possible. That may, if they can find clinician level staff who are ready and available at Nashville General, I think they'd be more than happy to do that. There's a shortage. I mean, there's difficulty. We'd like to move 1,000% faster on this, but MHC is experiencing some difficulty finding and training. This is a difficult position, finding and training the requisite staff who are qualified to hit the road with the police department. I'm sure they would be more than happy to consider any qualified applicant from any location.
So what would be the proper way to ensure that that does happen? So there would be some consideration. Should we ask for an amendment, or how would we address that?
I don't believe there's enormous, I mean, we want to get this program going as quickly as possible. If the interest was in a one-meeting deferral for us to seek what assurances we can get from Metro Health Co-op on them at least considering Nashville General personnel, I think that would be appropriate.
Well, then I'd like to move for a one-meeting deferral.
Properly moved for deferral, properly seconded. Councilmember
This
Allen.
is not technically a question on the deferral, but I did want to ask. Two questions. Is this still called a pilot because we're not sure that it seems like we did our year of pilot and it was a very good success at the 2 precincts that used it, and now we're expanding it to 2 more precincts. So is it appropriate to still call it a pilot?
We're happy to drop that moniker if you want, because
Okay.
we're going forward.
Okay, I just want the assurance that we're going forward, and that's more important than that. And then secondly, this $300,000 from the behavioral health grant, that's a different pot of money than that's being used to explore the possibility of the non-police co-response model. Can you provide me that assurance? Okay, that's fine. So with that, I'll support the one-meeting deferral.
Councilmember Evans on the deferral.
Thank you. Would it be appropriate as part of the deferral to ask for some more information related to the staffing and the finances of Metro Hospital around, do they have any behavioral clinicians currently on staff, and what that would look like for the next meeting?
I'm sure the administration can shake their head over there. They are shaking their head. So we have a motion for. I've done lost track of the motion. Okay.
I just want to stand and say that I and Councilmember Evans have been attending the Partners in Care meetings, and we are very supportive of it. And that's the reason why I'm asking the question, because we want it to sustain itself and not just have something to say we did a good thing this year and then for future years it's no longer available to our constituents.
Thank you, Councilmember Hurt. We have a motion for deferral. Properly seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You defer one meeting. Item number 14, 2022-1745, Rote and Gamble, Syracuse, and others approves the grant contract between the Metro Board of Health and the Mental Health Cooperative to provide funds to operate a 24/7 mental health co-op treatment center to provide urgent mental health care alternatives to the emergency room or jail, and this was also pulled off consent. And I've got I have a motion and properly seconded. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I asked to pull this one off, and then I'll defer to Councilmember Hurt for her questions as well. Is this housed, I know that we've been really excited about the mental diversion facility at the Criminal Justice Center, so is this also housed there, and how will those two mental health diversions operate together?
Administration.
I do not know the answer to that question, Council Lady.
Microphone, Mike.
I will try to get an answer to you before the 6:30 p.m. meeting begins.
All right, I would love to know that, so thank you. I'll defer to my seatmate over there to the left.
Councilmember Hurt.
Thank you. It's basically the same questions that I was asking about the previous one and the subsequent one.
So are we wanting to group all three of these together as far as deferrals? Is that what we're looking at?
I would like to, please.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
we have a motion for deferral properly seconded. Any opposed? You pass 14-0 for the deferral. 2022-1746, Roten Gamble, Syracuse, and others approves a contract for services between the Metro Board of Health and Neighborhood Health Incorporated to provide homeless individuals with medical and dental services at 2 or more clinics in or near downtown Nashville. Got a motion for a deferral, properly seconded.
Yes, a motion to defer. And I do appreciate, and I think Neighborhood Health has done an amazing job in what it is that they're doing, but also, again, just looking at the impact and the possibilities of utilizing Nashville General.
Thank you, Councilmember Hurt. We have a proper motion, properly seconded for one meeting deferral. All in favor? Any opposed? Do you approve of the deferral? We are on to bills on second reading. Item number 26 on the calendar, 2022-1379, Swope, Hurt, Hall, and others amends Title II of the Metro Code to create the National Entertainment Industry Board. Council members, Swope, there you are. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've all heard this same story over and over again for weeks now.
Councilmember Swope, can I get a motion in a second? I forgot to do that. So we got a proper motion, properly seconded. Councilmember Swope, you're on the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've all been down this merry path for weeks now, if not months. The mayor's office called a special meeting that was 3 hours long, August 30th. What I found out after that meeting was it was not about either one of these bills. It was the retreat meant for Councilman Syracuse's original passing of a Music City Music Council bill. So I remind everyone that no one in the film and television community wants to be involved with the music committee or music community. Yes, we're inextricably linked in a weird way, but it's two completely separate businesses. And for one overarching council to discriminate between the different industries is asking a whole lot. Same thing has been asked 6 times in the past over the past 30 years, and it's failed every single time. I think 1379 goes straight to the point of what we're trying to achieve, which is a very focused film, television, and digital media, virtual media, etc., group of industry professionals that can direct us in the proper ways and means to utilize state franchise and excise taxes and streamline permitting processes within the city of Nashville. So I would ask your approval.
So 1379, we have a proper motion, properly seconded. We have a substitute that is here that we can take up. Should I just... Okay, so we have Councilmember Johnston moving the substitute. Councilmember Sledge properly seconded. I see the sponsor is here. Councilmember Stiles, would you like to explain to us what your substitute does? You're on now.
Thank you, Chair. So yes, we have been talking about this now since June, the creation of a commission that does address our creative industries throughout the city. Some of what you heard is accurate. The meeting that we had last week originally was conceived to be the resurrection of the Music City Council. But upon having conversation with the mayor's office several months ago and introducing the idea of an entertainment office, the meeting was then expanded to include film to have a greater conversation about what the office could look like and also what the commission could look like. The outcome of that was, in doing a vote, there was a majority return of having one commission. We have tried in the city multiple times to segregate industries. It hasn't worked. So to do it again would be another failure. In having one commission, you have all the industries sitting at one table, and everyone gets to rise together. Some of the complaints that came up last week are many of the ones that I've mentioned over the last couple of months, which is we have ignored film and television, we have ignored fashion, theater, other creative industries. By having one commission, everyone gets to rise together and we get to have some equity. This substitute creates designated subcommittees regarding some of the issues that came up last week in terms of workforce development, the music venue preservation, dedicated DEI initiatives, as well as strategic planning for this upcoming office, and also being able for the commission to hire this future executive director and set the needs for the office. So I am asking again for support. This is now a substitute for 1379, but again, this can go towards having better equity across all of our creative industries, and we have a lot more here than we did even 5 years ago. Metaverse, digital programming, all kinds of entities. So I would ask for your support this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Mendez, you're recognized.
Thanks, Chair. So I guess I'm one of the ones, council members who've been sort of monitoring this semi from the sidelines. And I don't know whether this is for Director Darby or one of the sponsors, but what I guess I'm gathering is that Councilmember Swope and Councilmember Syracuse are still aligned. Councilmember Stiles is not on board and has a different idea, and I think I understand the administration is at this point supportive of the Swope-Syracuse approach. And I don't know whether that's the administration, a sponsor, or Director Darby, if you know.
The administration, y'all have been called out.
I have not had a chance to look at the proposed substitute. The administration was copacetic with the underlying bill by Councilman Swope, co-sponsored by Hurt, Hall, Syracuse, and Van Rees.
So just because you use the SAT word there, does that mean the administration supports the Swope-Syracuse bill?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Chair, I'm going to vote against the substitute.
All right. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I attended that 3-hour-long meeting, and it was very helpful to me just to hear from stakeholders and representatives in the group. And what my two takeaways from that were, the most important thing was to create a commission that is enduring and has nothing to do with who the mayor is, so that as administrations change, this will continue to be there. And secondly, that after much discussion and back and forth of whether music and film and TV should all be together or not, what I heard from that group was music is the big dog, and the interests are definitely different, but that there is more strength in working together than working separately, and that the subcommittees within that could then address the very different needs, which that were clearly acknowledged. But I left that meeting thinking those are the two things that I'm going to be looking for in whatever bill comes in front of me. I am again frustrated that those of us who are not music or entertainment industry experts can't get a consensus from those who do actually understand the issue and just come to us with one bill that they've all agreed to, which is what I would prefer to wait for. So I would ask for an indefinite deferral of all of these until they can come together and acknowledge what I heard that group of entertainment people say, which was, yes, we need an office and we need a commission, and they need to be big enough and powerful enough to be effective and to outlast whatever administration we're underneath. So I'd move for indefinite deferral.
So we are on the substitute right now. Is the motion for the substitute, or the motion for indefinite deferral for the substitute? Oh, so when we get back to the bill, then you can make a motion if you'd like to indefinitely defer that. We're on the substitute right now. Does anybody else want to speak? Councilmember Savara.
Thank you, Chair. I guess if we're going to indefinitely defer, it may not matter. But one thing that I wanted to point out is that killing the substitute before the administration look at it does not make sense to me, because my understanding is that the substitute was trying to address some of the issues that came out of that said meeting. And so if the administration is not actually looked at it and to be able to compare it to the original bill, then I don't think it makes sense to kill it. So I think we should support the substitute and then do whatever we need to do. Yes, I'm still frustrated as everyone else that we don't have a one cohesive bill, but I do think that taking a rash action and not looking at everything is not going to do what the people in the industry want. I think bringing all of it together, finding something that works is what I would recommend. So I said don't kill the substitute yet and have everybody take a look at it. Thanks.
Anyone else on the committee about the substitute? Councilmember Gamble. I apologize, that's Vice Chair Gamble.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much. So I have a question about this substitute. If we are looking or intending to defer indefinitely the bill, can we defer the substitute until we come back to address the...
Councilmember Johnston, we have a question about the substitute and wanting to defer the substitute. You have a motion right now to approve it, so you're the one that made the motion. I'm just coming back to you.
I didn't realize there was a motion to approve.
Oh, you... All right, hold on. We can hear you. That's hold on. Sorry, Councilmember Johnson. We can all hear you better than you hear me, probably. No, I thought when you and Councilmember Sledge raised your hands, y'all were making motions on the substitute, and that's how we got in that discussion.
No, so. I think we were all in agreement of indefinite deferral, and that's why we were seconding that. So but I do have a process question. I guess that was the same as Councilor Gamble of like, what do you do with the substitute? You don't want to throw it out because it's part of the conversation. So do you indefinitely defer the entire deal, or do you just go back to the underlying and the substitute stays with it? I don't know.
I could answer that, but I'll let our alerted counsel answer what she thinks would be the best way to go about this. Oh, gotcha. You're the consul, our consul.
The substitute would follow the bill.
Okay.
And if no one else, I see Councilmember Stiles in the back, very eager to speak. You're recognized.
Thank you very much, Chair. I do appreciate Councilmember Barr's commentary. It seems rather foolish to throw the bill out with having not read it. And all summer long, we received emails in support of the previous legislation, which the majority of this substitute is in having one commission and uplifting everyone. I am not sure why this is taking place, but I can tell you that stakeholders are not pleased with this current bill. So if we're going to indefinitely defer it, I think that would be a great idea. It would be a very bad idea for us to pass this legislation as is. And we would end up getting roasted for ignoring all the people that wrote in support of different legislation for something that is very exclusively based and not inclusively based. Thank you.
So I think what we can do here is to get back to the main bill. Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Sledge, if y'all would just withdraw your motions for the substitute, which is what I thought y'all were making motions for, then we would be back on the main bill. All right, so I have a motion second. All in favor? All right, so we're back on the main bill. We have a motion and a second for indefinite deferral on 1379. All in favor? Aye. Apologize. That's I was going to let him have. Would you like to speak on it? So, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You move to indefinitely defer. Now, I've been told by our learned counsel that number 17 was taken off consent when we were going down through the agenda, and I just want to make sure we go back and hit that. It's 2022-1748, Roten, Hurt, Welsh, and Swara approves a grant from the Tennessee Library, State Library and Archives to the Metro Nashville Public Library to provide funds for free technology, training, and equipment for use by members of the community. Do we know who pulled that? Okay, I'm sorry, Councilmember Allen, let me get your button here. You're recognized.
I just had a question, and it may be that something was confusing in the analysis, and I just need that clarified. It looked to me like there were some amounts on the order of 7,000 and maybe 15,000, no, 7,000 and 1,500, and that this grant was supposed to cover charging stations and several staff people that were going to be hired. And that amount of money just didn't seem to match with that amount of output. So I just was checking to see if the funding amounts were correct. And perhaps I should have checked to see if they're different in the bill itself than they are in the analysis. But what I saw in the analysis seemed awfully small.
Mike or someone from finance, y'all have the answer to that.
I think as existing staff, it's just the time for them to devote to training the public on the equipment and technologies, but the solar panels are indeed a component of it.
Solar panels and charging stations, and we get all that for less than $10,000.
Correct.
Good for us. Okay, just checking.
All right, so
I move approval.
Have a motion properly seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? You approve, and we are adjourned.